So this is going to be a quick video. I just want to talk about my knowledge and what I've learned directly from Akai about the whole track muting situation and a few other odds and ends I've learned about MPC3 software so far. This is actually in the middle of a setup. I do have a video coming out on the PWM Mantis and also auto sampling. So if you're curious about that stuff, stay tuned. I might even post the auto sampling video right after this one today. We'll see. But I have the MPC1 Plus off to my side. I have the MPC3 software loaded on there and track muting. So when I found out about the whole track muting stuff when I was testing the software, I was surprised, and so I messaged Akai directly right away. Officially, what I've gotten so far is that the whole track muting situation exists for both events and the way it is currently. So event muting is the way that most people use it in the MPC2 software, and then apparently in the preferences, there's a setting to make it do what it does right now in the MPC3 software, which essentially mutes the mixer that's in the system. I actually didn't know that you could do that in MPC2 because I've never used it. I've actually never wanted to mute the audio hard cutoff style because they typically have like reverb and delays and stuff and I want them to ring out. When I reached out to Akai, the developer said that it is in the system, it's just not available through the app yet. And depending on how many bugs, which there could be a lot since it's beta, this may or may not be a feature that gets into the public beta or even the final release when it officially gets launched. Again, I don't know when specifically this is going to be in the official software, but one of the developers did say that it is in the system, just not available through the software, and enabling it will definitely introduce some bugs, but it's probably going to be in there at some point down the road. Now again, that could be in the public beta, or it could be in the official release, or it could be in a few releases down the road. We don't know. MPC3 is obviously a big overhaul visually and also internally with a whole track situation being merged and obviously no more clip launching. So there's gonna be some stuff that breaks and there's gonna be some things that they have to figure out and how to connect back up, you know? But I will say, as it stands right now with the MP3 software, it is technically broken from a workflow perspective of the original MPC2 software. So let's say I copy this sequence. I go the pencil, copy sequence. I wanna put it into 2. We'll call this the copy. Like so, say do it. Now we're in the second sequence. Now if I make a new track, specifically a MIDI track, so track 8 is MIDI. If I go track mutes right here, you see MIDI 002. Now MIDI is technically events, right? It's not audio. So if I mute the MIDI, well, if I go back to sequence 1, it's still muted. So this is clearly not intended from a workflow perspective. I'm like 90% sure that this is not going to be the way it is upon like official release. So I use MIDI on my MPCs as a hardware sequencer basically all the time. And if this functionality got pushed into the final release, it'd basically be unusable for me for multiple sequences because I rely on mutes to take out certain elements on the fly as a performative type of experience that I then record into another DAW for mixing. Specifically Ableton. Actually, I have a whole video on that stuff if you want to check it out. But yeah, I highly doubt that this is going to be the official release because it does break a lot of workflows for people. So, but it's good that we as a community let Akai know, like, hey, we prefer this particular style, or we need to make sure we have access to this type of style because it could affect too many workflows for the MPC3 upgrade. Moving on from track mutes, I have some information about disk streaming that I thought was very fascinating. So if I go into the project right here, and look at both memory and streaming. I can take out memory, and these are all streaming right now. What I didn't realize when I first loaded up the software is if you hold one of these files, I can either delete the sample or I can stream from disk. So as it is right now in this version of the beta software, you can flip things back and forth from streaming by holding the name and then opening up the option to stream from disk or stream from memory, vice versa. And what's interesting about this is this particular project, I sampled the PWM Mantis. Again, that video is coming out, so stay tuned if you want to check that out. And this project right here, it has all 8 layers with C notes spread across all the keys. So it's just one C2 note 8 times spread across everything. So every time I press the key, I'm getting a different sample, up to 8 times. But it's also being streamed from disk, which is pretty cool. Let's actually change this to be poly. Poly, please. And we'll take off Airsoft Clipper. So again, this is being streamed off of an SD card. So that's obviously really cool, because then the potential exists to load up really large samples that'll be streamed from a disk. I don't know how effective or efficient SD card streaming is going to be when you have lots of samples loaded up. That's something that I feel like is going to have some sort of limit pretty fast. I could be wrong, whereas other systems that have SSD drives installed are probably going to be very good for streaming lots of samples. I got confirmation as well that one of the things that they're trying to do is load into a streaming version for drum groups and key groups. It's not there yet on this software, and as it is right now, it's kind of hidden on how you would switch something from streaming or to memory, like so. It's kind of one of those paradigm shifts where a lot of things require holding to open up a menu, so it's kind of easily missed if you're not aware of that option. But at some point down the road, there's probably going to be the option to load something directly into memory. Like right here, it says load new track. There's probably going to be a load into streaming version for this stuff, which would be very handy because this program right here, Mantis Triangle, has way more samples. Specifically, it's got 9 key groups, and each one of those key groups has 8 samples loaded up. Again, you'll be able to check this out in the video that I did for that. But there's just a lot of different samples, and it makes it feel a lot more real. I have effects loaded, obviously. But yeah, if I were to actually go through and try to load up all of these samples into the streaming option, I'd have to hold each one of these, hold them, and then say stream from disk, which just is not feasible, obviously. Obviously, that would not work. So it'd be great to see some sort of option to load directly from disk streaming. But anyways, I didn't know that you could actually switch it from memory to disk streaming right now with this beta software. So yeah, very cool, exciting. That means that the 2 gig RAM limit is going to be less of a concern. And I wonder also if the plugins are gonna get some sort of option to load up, like say, studio strings from the disk or stream it from the disk as well. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, and I actually haven't asked Akai about that. So we'll see on that. But it does seem like things are moving towards that direction, and that way there's less of a concern about this whole 2 gig RAM limit type of thing. The other issue as it is right now, if you were to load up a WAV file, let's say hour, maybe hour and a half long, I don't know if it would actually load it right now into this system and then be able to switch to disk streaming. I'd imagine we need a feature on here that actually says load to disk streaming before that's possible. Because you can definitely stream long audio files at this point, like 20 minutes plus right now from these machines. And maybe it's possible to load up an entire like 2-hour chunk of audio, so long as it's streaming directly from disk. But anyways, that's what I got for you. Thanks for watching. If you like what I do here on the channel and want to support it beyond a like and subscribe, consider using my affiliate links below for picking up new gear, whether it be synthesizers or MPCs or audio equipment. I do appreciate the support. If you've got any other questions, definitely drop them below. I will try my best to relay things to Akai as I discover stuff. I'll have the auto sampler 8-layer MPC video with the PWM Mantis here coming out real soon, and obviously more content on the way. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time for another one. Peace.